Hassan, thank you very much. So hopefully, after lunch, we're all still very much here. I know usually this is a point in time where there is a bit of fatigue, a bit of needing to sleep, a bit of lack of concentration, but we hope that the discussions within the panels are going to be interesting enough for you to stay awake, stay vigilant, and be, in a way, with us during the panel discussions. So the second panel for today is Maritime Cargo Management, Clearance and Forwarding. And we're going to be having just like the first panel, a very productive, a very informative conversation with the panelists with this panel as well. So without any further ado, let me start with my first question that goes to Shamim Ibrahim, who's the Managing Director of Seven Ocean Logistics. My question is, what measures and protocols are necessary to standardize the fee structure of the shipping industry of the Maldives? And how can policymakers, particularly shape regulations for a fair arrangement?
Good afternoon.
Mike.
Hi, good afternoon. To standard the fee structure of the shipping industry in the Maldives is a combination of regular reform structure, engagement, and transparency measure must be implemented. Breakdown measure policy and protocol necessary along with the recommendation of policymakers ensure the fair efficiency logistics. For example, essential the shipping tariff framework to create standardized pricing and guidelines across port agents and logistics services. Form a shipping-free regulatory authorities, under the Ministry of Transport or with relevant departments. Develop centralized tariffs set for common service, ports, demurrage, custom clearance and documentation and container storage like this. Monitor all port operation agents and forward to publish fee publicity on digital platforms. Implement a transparent fee disclose policy. Prevent overcharging, hidden fees and discriminatory pricings. Require freight forwarding shipping line and clearing agents to issue a detailed cost breakdown for each transactions. Stakeholders consulting and industry's presentation. Ensure the fee structure reflects real costs and include posts from all actors. Maritime Industry Council involving shipping agents, port authorities, freight forwarders, business chambers, etc. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think in that reflection, you've highlighted something quite important, which is to have the fee structure, to have all the charges available in a transparent manner publicly so that people understand exactly what they're getting into, which I think is very, very important. My next question is to Abdullah Wahid, Deputy Commissioner, Maldives Customs Services. What challenges does the Maldives Customs Service face with the increasing volumes of imports and exports? And given this reality, how is it preparing to meet future demands?
Good afternoon to everyone. Let me express our sincere appreciation for inviting us to this important session of today. I believe this is a good opportunity to share our information which we would like to pass on to the trade business community here. If I may to start with the challenges, let me say express a few words on the current situation of the trade here, particularly import and export. We observe about twice increase of imports within the last decade. That means in 2014, our import value was 26 billion. Now the same value for last year, 2024, was 55 billion. So it itself reflects the challenges we will have onto that. Although we observe export remaining almost same within the same range with 1.5 billion to 2.5 billion, that range. And the number of shipments that comes for clearance, I will tell that by the number of declarations submitted to customs. In 2014, it was 157,000 declarations submitted to customs for cargo clearance. But in 2024, the same number has increased by 64%. This number is now 258,000 declarations submitted. So this is also a challenge for customs to process the declaration on a timely manner. And so these are the major challenges we have. So we are actually dealing with these things, and customs has, before going into the solutions we have brought, I'll just elaborate a little bit, share a little bit information on our import duty structure and some of the important information related to imports. Although if it is such a huge value of imports, 45% of the total import value is for zero tariff items. So we have relief on that actually. At least we can do customs check on a mild manner in that area particularly. And we observe 70% of total import, that import value is below 5%. So these are some of the opportunities we have within the, so just to mitigate the actual large volume actually. So generally, we don't have, everybody knows food items, we don't take any customs duty. Agriculture items, construction material, textile, and educational products, all these are zero items. In addition to that, there is 1 billion on the total leviable duty of customs. There is 1 billion duty exemption happening every year under the by the president for the facilitation for the development projects such as resorts and other infrastructure developments. Another biggest challenge we are now facing is with the courier cargo. Everybody's, we are hearing a lot of things about courier cargo. Particularly within this year, we are observing a huge increase of courier shipments with the introduction of new online pages related to. So there's a lot of things going on related to that. I will not elaborate on that, but I will focus on what we have, challenges we have with that for customs. One of the things is when such an operation starts, there should be sufficient facilities at the airport and seaport. Unfortunately, even with the new terminal, we have a very small facility to cater courier cargo shipments. Of course, courier cargo shipments are coming through courier because it needs fast clearance service. But at least we need to do at least non-intrusive inspection of the goods that is coming. And another challenge we have is advance information of the goods that is coming. It's also one of the things that is coming, that we face daily at customs. The major issue is, so although we have such a huge increase of import over the period of a decade, the port is remaining, I believe, it's same for all these years. At least for my career at customs, I think the port has never changed its size. It is so. And we observe the same space. So we do not have adequate space for customs clearance. Roughly we release around 250 containers a day. There are no space to if we are to remove all the boxes in a container, there won't be sufficient space to keep it. First of all, to keep it also. So that actually hinders our work a lot, and it takes a lot of time, lot of I believe lot of sometimes that there may be situation that some of the goods may get damaged also because of this situation. Basically, customs check can be properly done with a container scanner there. So we do not want to open each and every container that is coming to port. If we have a non-intrusive mechanism to check what is inside a container. So if that is one of the biggest challenge we have at the port for customs. There's no container scanner, so although we try to expedite the service, it will, there are these kind of hiccups. This is, I think, faced by each and every logistic company involved in the customs clearance. And another thing is, we observe that there are no sufficient equipments to move the containers within the port area based on our cargo inspection requirement. And there are no facility, actually, no proper facility to inspect cargo at the port. Those are the major challenges we have, and we are working with the port for that. And another thing is, some of the goods, as you all know, some of the goods importation require prior authorization from some of the government authorities. As of now, these are individual authorities. There's no single place where they can obtain these certificates. So it gives a lot of delays in processing the case in some situation.
I think I will come back to you on specifically on those key changes, just in the interest of time. And I think you've been very diplomatic about particularly courier cargo, and I think he was referring to all your Timu orders. So just to be aware, we all contribute to the problems the customs service face. So I will come back to that point, but can I ask you, Taha, how have the recent disruptions in international shipping routes and vessel availability affected cargo delivery times and costs, particularly for Maldivian importers? And the second part of the question is, what strategies can local shipping and logistics companies adopt to try and mitigate the impact of such disruptions, particularly onto the supply chains?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Medium Events for this wonderful conference. And this is an important and timely question given the current volatility of the international shipping and the other geopolitical tensions happening in the Middle East as well as the rest of the world. As we all know and agree, Maldives is almost 90% import-dependent country, and whatever comes to Maldives is either coming from the West or the Southeast Asia. And one of the most critical global maritime choke point is the Suez Canal, which is currently going in some conflicts in the Red Sea. So as a result of this, 12% of the global trade which moves through Suez Canal. On top of the 30% of global container traffic moves on Suez Canal. So there is a disruption, yes, in the global trade. And to overcome this, the main liners have adopted a new route. Instead of going in the Suez Canal, they have diverted the vessels to travel via Cape of Good Hope, which adds roughly 2 weeks to the lead time. So we are talking about delay of 14 days to the existing schedules. So as we are getting all the goods imported, this has yes contributed to the Maldives. Even though we are not directly linked to the Suez Canal, whatever comes to Malé is also transshipped either from the Suez Canal or the neighboring ports. And on top of these longer transit routes, the cost has increased as well, as the voyage is, observing another additional 14 days, the shipping costs have gone up quite, say about more than 30–40%. And then the vessel availability, since the longer routes, the capacity required to service the existing trade routes have been more challenging. So additional capacity is required to cater for the longer routes. As a result, there is a shortage of getting containers and timely delivery of the cargoes. So these are mainly the direct, impacts to the Maldivian importers as well as the economy. And the question is how to challenge, or how do we respond to this? First and foremost, including MSS as the other local shipping companies in Maldives, we should build supply chain resilience, meaning we should inform our customers, the importers, about the importance of prior planning. And then as a shipping company, we should try to avoid, basically we can't avoid, but we should try find alternative routes or the other options to get the cargoes on a timely manner. And another important thing is, as a shipping company, we should keep our customers, the importers, informed of the delays that may arise. Most of our goods are imported for a timely manner. For example, a cargo which comes from Europe for a project in a resort, for a tourism project, we should inform the customer what are the possible delays that they might anticipate, and then give them proper information how to plan their schedules. And on top of that, we should all shipping companies tell the customers on a realistic delivery timeline, rather than telling, no, we can connect the goods in 21 days. Yes, it takes now almost 45 to 50 days for a container to arrive from Europe to Malé. So we need to inform our customers, the importers, about the realistic timeline. And to add to that, we can use digital AI tools, digital technology, to give a clear picture to the customers about the whereabouts of the cargo. So if we work, collectively, yes, there are things that can be done, but we cannot avoid the whole situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think you've pointed out three very important points there. One being the impact of the geopolitical situation on the shipping routes that usually come through to the Maldives, or at least as transshipments do impact the import situation of the Maldives. And the other thing is, as you've mentioned, the need for supply chain resilience, which I think is extremely important, particularly in a small country like the Maldives, where imports form, and as Wahid also mentioned, the bulk of the traffic into the country. And thirdly, I think the point about using AI, particularly ensuring the process of shipping goes into, or incorporates the latest technology to inform customers to build that resilience within the supply chain. I think those are very, very important points. Thank you for that. My fourth question rather goes to Shimla. So, as the Chief Learning and Development Officer at the Maldives Ports Limited, how does MPL plan to align its worker training programs with the new cargo ship regulation of 2023?
Thank you for the opportunity. We already have the programs which align with the IMO, and it's been 16 years. We have been collaborated with UNCTAD. We've been training our operational staff and the staffs who works in corporate as well as with the UNCTAD programs. Also, our operational department SOP is one of the main areas we look into for the TNA when we develop the TNA for each year, as well periodic refresher programs for the winchman, especially in who works in ship operation areas and the container yard areas. Also, all the programs we collaborate with customs, MSS, and other stakeholders. We already have students from customs, MSS, and immigration as well as with us.
Thank you very much, and I think that's important information to allow for the audience to understand that your training programs are sort of up to date with the things that are happening, with the changes that are occurring. Next question goes to Kashif Zaman, the Chief Executive Officer at Equivalent Lines Private Limited. My question is, how should policies address the regulatory conflict between freight forwarding regulation, particularly the regulation number 115, and shipping agency regulations to prevent service duplication?
Oh,
Yeah, that's good.
actually, thanks to the medium and other stakeholders, we have been talking a couple of times about this. The maritime industry needs to sit together because this is lifeline for Maldives, and good to see all the important elements here at the same venue. Okay, related to that legislation, we on and off has a discussion on that. If you see the evolution of transport, like it's beyond many hundreds or thousand years back. So we started from a very simple mechanism of transport, then we segmented it over the years, and different people or the enterprises took different segments of the whole total supply chain management. Carriers, for us, like shipping lines or the airlines, are playing one part. Custom brokerage is played by another part. Freight forwarding, freight brokers. Now a lot of modern names has come. 3PL companies, 4PL companies, like they are also there. But what I see is that if you look at the transport center till today, Europe plays a major role, and all the larger freight companies in the world, they have a history of 200 years old background or 180 years old background, and carriers are still into their spectrum in their own borders. They are playing their role. Forwarders are playing their role. Brokers are still there. Local transport companies are still there. Why it needs to be in Maldives as well regulated? It's for the same reason. Because, for example, like we have MSS, we have other international carriers here. They have a very vital and very specified and a declared role in their industry, So there is extended arm of it is in the form of the customers, brokerage houses, freight forwarders, warehousing companies, distribution companies are there. So all are playing a distinguished role in the total process of the supply chain. Why we need to regulate it? Because if we don't have that certain pockets for each and every enterprises, there is always a probability of stepping on each other's toes, and which creates unnecessary rifts in the industry. And then you have price conflicts and so many other elements which really derail the whole smooth process of it. I believe like it's not only the legislation part, it's the market driving factors also play a very important role in it, which determine the future of how the industry should formulate, structure, and evolve itself. So I'm sure not only government sector, private sector, and enterprises like a national carrier and other international carriers, if they come together, they can really agree on a mechanism. That is how it works in our industry. We have consortiums, we have different bodies, we have different platforms, and that keeps us in our boundaries or the territories. And with contribution from each segment of us, we give the end consumer a total flawless solution.
Yeah.
That's what I think so we should look to focus on. Thank you.
I completely agree, and I think this particular platform is trying to do exactly that, where we bring in the regulators, we bring in those people in charge of making those key policies with the people who are particularly the private sector who are providing these services to the public. And our hope, as you said, is that this combination or the need to work together as opposed to sort of rather than blaming one another or sort of harping on the problems, to find a way, to find a solution together, I think is the objective. Shamim, my next question to you is, and I think you've talked a bit about this during your first intervention as well, how might improved cargo handling systems and storage facilities in the northern and southern atolls impact local supply chains and open new markets for businesses?
Yeah, good question there. The Maldives, currently we have two ports running, the north and south. So still we are moving some goods as well, like a TS cargo.
Yeah.
But we need more to facilitate that. For that we need to take the more cargo to the port side. And however, we need the more modern cargo handling system in there as well. And storage facilities in north and south can be a game changer in there. So we might be benefit local and economic supply also will get. So strength in local supply chains. So undergo cargo handling capacity means more good can be unloaded and process can clear faster in regional ports, reducing regions on Malé central transit point. This destination enable direct deliveries to island within this atoll, cutting transit time and minimize delays. Moreover, cold storage and warehousing facilities allow local business to stock inventory ahead of demand, improving product availability and reducing storage in north and southern ports. It's a very vital during monsoon season, and while we can storage and distribute in the regions as well. And improve cost chain management, safeguards perishables such as food, seafood, and fruits and pharmaceuticals to reduce spoilage and ensuring better quality reach consumers. Open a new market in business opportunities, north atoll like Halif and southern atolls, including Addu and Gafalif, will be positioned to engage in regional export by handling exports locally, such as fresh tuna, agricultural products. This atoll can be connected directly with international markets like Sri Lanka, and we can use it as a hub in the regions. Additionally, with enhanced storage and handling infrastructure, e-commerce business can establish a decentralized fulfillment center close to consumers, enable faster delivery across the country. The logistics sector itself stands to grow through embracement of third-party logistic providers, bonded warehouse and cargo consolidation service in these sectors. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I think this is a nice segue into the question that I have for Wahid, which is that how has the recent change by the Maldives Customs requiring containers to be unloaded at the destination site instead of the Malé commercial harbour, how has that impacted the speed, efficiency, and the cost of cargo clearance for businesses and resorts? And also, what would you say are the expected economic benefits and challenges of this new site unloading policy? Especially for, we've been talking about this as well a bit, especially for small businesses and frequent importers.
Actually, containers, they get unloaded to Malé Commercial Harbour even now. So what we have, I think the question is referring to the expedited service that we wanted to introduce to the community in relation to authorized economic operator, a service that we are to introduce. And basically, this particular authorized economic operator is a global recognized system where accredited importers and exporters can get this service through the supply chain. Basically, there are three tiers in the system: silver, gold, and platinum, where different kind of services. So some level, first initial level, there are the expedited customs clearance services. At the port operator level, also it can be expedited, and even it can be expedited at the exporting country level in this particular system. And this economic authorized, although we have opened it, we observe very slow response to this particular scheme. Before entering into the scheme, they need to have a proper auditing of the system according to the requirement of the scheme. So we hope that it will come into place in a very near future. Other than that, custom always expedite. For the last 20-30 years, we are expediting offshore examination for the goods that needs to be unloaded to the resorts, particularly bulk cargo, rock boulders, those kind of shipments, they get unloaded to the shipment. Also, there are situations we have expedited container cargo also, particularly I can remember the development of Crossroad project, which actually happened during the very peak season of the port, where the bridge construction also was going, and so we have expedited container to that particular area and did cargo inspection in that area, which is usually the container will get unloaded to the port, otherwise the port revenue will be affected.
Yeah.
So basically, we are trying to introduce a system where the port and customs and the logistic operator together provide this service to the importers.
Thanks. I hope that this platform sort of serves as an important opportunity, for example, for what you just mentioned about companies adhering to that the tiered scheme where they had to meet a certain criteria to be part of those schemes. So I think that could be a conversation that could be taken offline, but with the companies here, hopefully to ensure that the products that they bring in are cleared in a fast, expedited manner. Taha, my question to you now is, now we talked about Maldives being a majority import country. What further infrastructure improvements are needed to ensure the Maldives ports can keep up with the growing import and particularly also tourism demands? And what role will the development of regional commercial ports such as Kurudufushi, Kudahuadu, Maamingili, Addu, and others play in decentralizing, and I think it's a very key word that's not used as often but is quite important, decentralizing cargo logistics and enabling business expansion across the Maldives?
Thank you. That's a very interesting question. But during the previous panel, Mr. Ahmad from Boating Association highlighted that they have been waiting for over 18 years to get a safe harbor for their liveaboats. Similarly, the marine vessel operators in the Maldives has been, I think, wanting for a modernized harbor more than that. uh, it's, there needs to be serious developments to be done. To go back to your question now, when the Maldives ports was established in 1986, our Maldivian tourist arrival was somewhere close to 110,000. If we look into the numbers, last year we welcomed 2 million plus tourists. And as per the MMPRC data, we are expecting a 15% increase in that number in 2025. The tourism numbers are picking up. However, we don't see the same infrastructure coming to port. The Malé commercial harbor, Malé port, is the primary gateway for the Maldives. And at the time, the port was built to handle roughly 500 to 1,000 TEUs, meaning 20 feet equivalent containers. But today, we have handled, the total imports to Malé is roughly 6,000 to 7,000 containers. So meaning we need serious infrastructure developments. And then at peak, the total imports to Malé has surged up to 7,500 containers. But the infrastructure in our port, we do not have any modern berthing facilities, no shore gantry cranes, and then no proper ITT mechanisms or whatsoever. And the other main challenges what we face with without the resources in port is the vessel gears or the vessel cranes are used for loading and discharging, which is very risky given the open waters we have. In case of bad weather or swell, if there is any incidents, we may see even fatalities. Yeah. And to address this, firstly, we need to have a proper modernized port. And on a serious note, the port, the land area or the yard space need to be accommodated. As my colleague, Mr. Abdullah mentioned, the need for land is necessary. The examinations cannot be done with the limited land space. Yes, we cannot open a container and then de-stuff the cargo. We don't have any CFS in Maldives. That is a very serious issue. Whatever cargoes imported into Maldives, it's de-stuffed within the port premises. And the cargo loading, discharging is also done at the same place. And secondly, to cater for this, we need to focus more on the decentralization part. Yes, the regional ports need to be looked into other way, meaning we need to create proper. Developing a regional port will not bring the cargo that we are looking. We need to have other mechanisms as well, ways to routes to deliver the cargoes efficiently to the regional ports, and on top of that, a very attractive fee structure that we take the cargoes to the regional ports. In the Maldives, there are no separate tariffs for transshipments or the local imports, where in the rest of the world, the tariffs which are applied for transshipments is completely different from the local import and export. So if we are considering the Malé port as a transshipment hub for the regional ports, there should be two separate fee structures. That is also very important for us to look into when we talk about the regional ports. By only developing the infrastructure in regional ports will not bring the volumes unless it gives a competitive advantage for the importers or the transporter to take the cargo. So That's something very important we need to highlight while we talk about the regional ports development as well. And then if we look into our neighbor in Sri Lanka, the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, SLPA, has leveled up to 25th in the world, 25th, global port in the last year, handling about 7 million TEUs. So, I mean, we are neighbors, so there's something that we can also do in the same context. It's very important that we keep in mind that the same infrastructure which was built about 36 years ago still remains the same, wherein the infrastructure which was built for 100,000 tourists has, passed more than 2 million, and we are expecting more. To cater for that, we see a new airport terminal and developments in airport, which is good. The same thing needs to be done in the Malé port, yes. Otherwise, I see a very serious issue on how to cater for the tourists who are arriving. A timely delivery is crucial for we are heading towards the season, Christmas season, coming on the end of the year. So there needs to be serious developments that needs to be done in Malé port if we are to cater for the growing demand for tourism. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. I think the point that you made, the final point that you made, while it's important to cater for the increase in demand of tourists into the country, if the same sort of seriousness is not seen in catering for the demand of the cargo, then it becomes a problem in terms of meeting the needs of the people that we are facilitating to come into the country. So I think that's a very important point, and I think these key things are reflected in what comes out of this particular forum, so that there is that conversation is ongoing, but hopefully it doesn't take 18 years to resolve. Shimla, my next question to you is, with the ongoing space constraints that we were talking about just now as well, at the Malé Commercial Harbour, how will the development of the new international port at Gulliver address current bottlenecks in cargo handling and clearance? And we've been having this conversation along this same theme of developing new resources, facilities available at the ports, and developing new ports. How do we make sure that the process is easier? So how do you think this will address the bottleneck?
First of all, from all the stakeholders, all their issues and their problems pinpointed at you, and you are sitting in the corner. You don't feel very well, right? Don't we all need environmental and urban relief in capital city of Malé? That's the very first issue that we need to address. After that, I want to highlight that yes, MPL is operating, it's beyond its potential capacity. Yes, and our colleague from Customs and MSS, they both highlighted very well the issues our stakeholders are facing. And our operations, we are managing at risk actually for the ship operators as well, our workers as well in the premises who works in the container yard. But when first, I think we all need to address the issue that we don't need for right now transshipment port. I know many will be disagreeing that first we need to address as a Port Limited, MPL, we need to have first a proper port which we can cater to Maldivian economy first. After that, we need to expand the transshipment or any other various maritime activities. I had a little chat with MSS MD this morning. Yes, turnaround time of the ships which actually affect in the shipping lines and their profit. Actually, it's a concern for MPL as well. And the congestions at the port activity area, as well in the roads, the pickups and lorries which carrying the cargoes, we need to address all this. It's not only for the Transport Ministry or City Council. It has to be addressed within MPL as well, and the customs and all the stakeholders. And the diversification of the maritime activities, we heard the topics that been discussed in this morning, the panel discussion. They cannot expand on any activities unless we develop the proper infrastructure.
Absolutely.
And the segregation of the port activities, it needs to be clearly defined according to the international laws. My colleague, my friend from Custom, he highlighted that CFS operation is difficult. Container clearing area, the safety and the security, as well as scanning of the cargoes. These all we can address when we have the proper infrastructure. So it is not the transshipment port which we are focusing on. We are focusing on developing a proper terminal, and we have actually started with the break bulk terminal. I'm sure some of stakeholders will see the constructions work is going in the Tilafushi area. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think it's a classic chicken or the egg situation. What do we need to have first? But I can assure you the purpose of these questions is exactly to do that, to have a conversation where we're not really blaming institutions, but focusing on what needs to be done and how we can do it collaboratively. But I think you also bring out a very important point. Malé is a very small place. How much can this city take? How much infrastructure development, how much of the kind of resources, facilities required for a capital city? How much can Malé, the single island, take? And I think it's a very valid point. So now going back to Mr. Zaman, what are the key differences between freight forwarders and freight brokers in the Maldivian context? And how do they contribute to efficient cargo management and clearance?
If you look at the freight broker, their role, like when the major, we call it operators again, when they started operating in the world, where you have like big landscape or the countries or the regions were quite big, the shipping line office could be in the Hamburg and your cargo is in the Stuttgart or Munich. So there is a huge difference of like land and communication. So then gradually there were small enterprises or individuals evolved who acted as a freight broker for the shippers. So what they were doing, they were taking a booking from you, communicating with the carrier, and matching your requirement. Their job was very simple, just to establish a contact. That's it. You call it matchmaking, or in easy terms. But gradually, when as transport evolved, so you needed a bigger role from these freight brokers. So these freight brokers gradually transformed into the freight forwarding segment of the transport industry. Some countries, regional and global big transport players, still have the freight brokers there, and they still play a key role. For example, Chinese market, still the freight brokers exist at a very quite large number. But in Europe, they mostly evolved into large-scale freight forwarders. Indian subcontinent, still freight brokers do exist. In Maldives context, the number proportionately between freight forwarder and the broker, freight brokers are very few. I would say, honestly, not many. The role, for example, why we are still using these terms. The role of a freight forwarder and the broker very largely is differentiated easily. Freight broker had a very limited role in this business. They were just connecting a carrier and the shipper. That's it. Getting or securing a price for them, and then rest of the marriage goes on directly. But in case of a freight forwarder, you give them a service like that could be from a supplier's door to the buyer's door. So all the segments of supply chain, they were covering it and they were serving it to the gun who initiates the cargo or the one who receives the cargo, for both of them. In this process, whatever the documentation needs to be issued, if liner service is needed or airline service is needed, that is acquired. Warehousing is needed, that is acquired. Even transport and delivery also is embedded with it. So overall, the role of a freight forwarder is more of a total door-to-door solution, whereas the broker has a very limited role. Again, the liabilities also are very, very limited for a broker and freight forwarder. It's a serious liability in all the contacts. In Maldives, actually, I would very happily say there is a large number of freight forwarding companies, and they work with the carriers like MSS, and they facilitate the end user. And they help a lot the local, again, end consumers or the tourism sector a lot in all form of supply chain management, and give them a total solution, maybe under one umbrella. So if you ask me, blended with the major carriers, freight forwarders has played a key role in today making sure perishable reaches to a resort, which is originated maybe from some Thailand village, or maybe from India or from Australia. So to put it in a easy way, they make sure that you have a tourist has a boiled egg in the breakfast in maybe 100 knots away from Malé.
Yeah.
So it's a crucial role for supporting the industry, and I'm sure a lot of you will agree with that.
So also, I suppose it's a testament to the successful outreach, particularly of freight forwarders, that they are able to reach directly to the people that they're serving, without or with less and less need for a broker. And so the final question to you, Shamim, is, and I think it's a slightly technical one, but what ROI metrics will gauge the digital clearance system's impact on reducing port congestion? Just for reference sake, currently costing businesses about 15 to 20% in delays.
Yeah, the standard, the fee structure of the shipping industry, regulatory of a framework, the engagement and transparency measure must be implemented and break down a key measure and policies to protect necessary, along with the recommendation for policymakers ensure the fair price and efficiency logistic. Then the warehousing, so we need to more space in the warehousing as well to cost down the prices. So still we need more warehousing facilities in even Malé, or some need to storage. So we can bring the bulk and store. This is a very important structure for pricing.
Yeah, I think that's a very pertinent point, particularly as Shimla, you were saying, the need for land, or the land to create this infrastructure, versus the opportunity cost of that particular piece of land being used, let's say, as a warehouse or as an infrastructure that supports cargo. So I think it's a valid question, but I think one that will be a difficult one to answer. Mr. Wahid, my final question to you is, and I think it's a very interesting one because we've been talking about the economic benefits of or the, you know, the constraints even of Maldives being primarily an import country. But I think this question goes really to understand some of the nuance around that. How does the Maldives Customs Service balance the need for strict border security with facilitating legitimate trade and travel to support the country's economic growth? So it's a question of, on the one hand, the need to promote economic growth versus also understanding the current realities within the world and the need for a border security.
Yes, main responsibility of customs is trade facilitation and border enforcement. And border enforcement, we are mandated to restrict all the prohibited items, contraband, narcotics, and all other items that are restricted by the regulation by various government ministries, all are mandated to customs. So to address this, basically we have brought up risk management systems. Many years ago, we have brought up the risk management system where we focus on commodities where we need to do thorough documentary level checks, physical examination, and so that we can allow those with a less risk commodities to flow smoothly. That's how we are managing our whole process, and I think this reflects the solutions for my first question actually for today. Of course, when it comes to the tobacco, vehicle, high tariff commodities, we have thorough inspection, and based on the information that we receive through the, we also do further inspection of the cargo. So intelligence unit of customs is concentrating on those kind of information. Apart from the information profiles that we have created on our risk management system, where they focus more on checking such shipments. We have selectivity system for every process, even for the declared document processing when it is lodged to customs, and the customs computer system automatically will select a customs officer who will be attending the particular declaration for documentary check, and also for the cargo inspection similarly. So there's less of control within the organization for this kind of process to flow without a control. Apart from that, we have a lot of activities going on to train our officers and establish mechanism to smooth flow of cargo. With World Customs Organization, we have various programs. With UNODC, we have recently started implementing a new program that is called Passenger Cargo Clearance Program, where high-risk cargoes are identified. UNODC, together with the World Customs Organization, we have container control program for some years, where we identify those containers which may carry goods that can be prohibited, and we have a lot of information attached with when it's received. Otherwise, with the limited resources we have right now, we will not be able to do anything. Whole economy will be collapsing without the risk management system in this current situation we have. So we are not asking MPL also not to open all the containers. We are not really, I mean, the containers get opened not really for the full, for cargo inspection, it is for de-stuffing of goods to the loading purposes. That's how the process is working flow. and we have also we have a lot of trade facilitation initiatives at customs. We have implemented WTO TFA trade facilitation agreement with the customs. About 73% of the agreement's mandate has been already achieved. So we have established this mechanism so that the goods that comes to the customs is, I mean, we are trying to trust importers, so that we have trusted importers so that they can come into the authorized economic operator services and get them cleared, and that kind of assurance that we are going to trying to achieve out of all these programs. And we have post-clearance audit so that we at least even now we are not actually doing thorough check of each declaration submitted to customs. About 50% of the declaration that's submitted to customs will get automatically assessed. And we focus on, and when I say that, some of the people will say that there's a lot of questions sometimes we focus on only 10% of the declaration for those kind of multiple, we ask for a lot of additional information. There are situations where you have to submit so many additional documents. That is only 10% of the declaration that we receive. If we ask, we released 50% of the declaration without any sort of additional information. And in order to balance this, we have post-clearance audit, where we take about 12% of the declaration that we process at customs. We call it blue channel, where we select some declaration to check it again within a period of 1 year maximum. We may ask to pay any if there is any shortfall duty to be collected, we do that. That's how we balance enforcement and trade facilitation.
Thank you. Some very, very important points, particularly I think the broader takeaway, I suppose, is the cost-benefit analysis of the economic growth versus the need for security, and ensuring that the damages caused by, focusing only on one aspect can have on the broader economy and the security situation as well. So I think that's a very important bit. My last question to you, Taha, is what strategies should the government and private sector adopt to align with the Maldives' broader economic vision and infrastructure upgrades to maximize growth potential in maritime cargo management and forwarding?
Thank you. Before I go to the question, I would like to highlight that, as my colleague mentioned, the Maldives ports is, yes, operating beyond its capacity, and they have been doing a fantastic job to manage the imports to Malé. But then, yes, we need serious infrastructure development, so we have to highlight it. To go back to your question, to unlock the full potential of maritime cargo management and forwarding, both the government and the private sector should work hand in hand, not parallel or not competing. Meaning the government of Maldives should have a long-term vision, and we should focus on the connectivity, competitiveness, and capacity building. I'll go back to Colombo Port again, the one I just highlighted, because Colombo Port is our most neighboring port, and as all of us here knows, whatever comes to Malé, 80% comes via Colombo. And often I get a call from my importer saying, why is his or her container stuck in Colombo? So most of us know the crucial role of Colombo and how it got there. We should know as well. Now, if you look into SLPA, the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, the SLPA also tried to develop on their own in the early 1970s, but failed. And then they had to, change ways. Most importantly, they had to go for private-public partnerships. And as a result, the SLPA became the landlord and the regulator, and the terminals were privatized. There were as of today, they have 4 terminals, which is fully operational. And there is huge competition among the terminals to increase the efficiency in terms of the service and the rates, the tariff. So due to this, the ultimate benefit is to the customers. So each and every terminal tries their best to give the best turnaround for the vessels. And then in terms of ITT, interterminal transport connectivity, everybody tries their best to be the best among the 4 terminal operators. Today, the Sri Lanka ports ranks globally world 20. I mean, in the 25th spot of the world, which is huge compared to the high efficiency modernized ports in Shanghai, Singapore, Dubai, Rotterdam. And if we look at the real facts, the bigger ships, vessels which can carry about 24,000 TEUs, are able to come and berth at the certain terminals of SLPA. So to do that, the Colombo invested in deep water terminals and then focused on privatizing the terminals. And to achieve this, the government need to have a national port and logistics master plan, which is very important. And to support that, the government needs to have support the port to have a modernized port as well. And the policies for warehousing and then the multimodal logistics services and the other CFS services should also be in place. Otherwise, the interest of the private parties, the freight forwarders, as Kashif mentioned, will not be protected. And without a proper act, I don't see any freight forwarder or any big 3PL logistics company come in and invest in their money in the Maldives or in our port sector. And for the private sector, they should also look into the technology. The new, even though we believe or not, the world is advancing, and then technology, AI is doing everything. We are moving towards digitalization. Now, if we look into the post-COVID era, to get a container cleared from Malé port, we have to print a delivery order, 3 copies, one set to customs, another set to MPL. Physically, we have to go and submit the documents. But now today, we just issue a EDO, a digital copy. With that, the physical labor work is eliminated. That's where we are going, even though we believe it or not. And on top of that, the human resource development is also essential to maintain the service levels and then to cater for the modernized infrastructure that is coming up. And to add to that, we also need to look into build more resources in our regional ports. We have 2 very good regional ports, one in the south, Hitadu Port, and one in the north, Kuludufushi Port. And recently, the government announced 2 more ports coming up in the central Kudahuadu and some other location. So by diversifying the volumes that are intended to the south, there will be more economic activities, which is also a help to the SMEs who are based in the particular region. Rather than de-stuffing all the cargo in Malé, the containers can be directly taken to the intended location, and then already the facilities are there. Customs is present in all these ports. We just need proper routing and then more resources in these ports to handle the goods in the regional ports. So if we look into the real picture, we need a proper regulation, and then the changes that needs to be done to the legislation or whatsoever. Thank you.
Thank you. Some very key points. I think there'd be people who would agree to some of the things that you've said, particularly around do we go the route that Sri Lanka has gone and introduce that sort of private element to it. Obviously, competition healthy competition can really, really change the face of this entire industry. And I agree completely that there needs to be sort of a looking out towards other countries, how they've achieved this, and try and at least find similarities where we can incorporate some of those things in the Maldives as well. Shimla, my last question to you is, what measures, and I think we've talked about this previously, so I think we're going back to something that we talked about earlier, but what measures are taken by the Maldives Ports Limited to manage risk during cargo and container handling at your facilities? And just if you could just elaborate on the safety measures MPL takes into account during operations.
When we talk about the safety measures, there are times that people start questioning it. But everybody, I think from an audience and our stakeholders would understand that our infrastructure is more than 40 years old. And it is not designed to handle the current modern equipment and the cargo, the designed cargos, and the volume actually we are facing right now. And it is we have seen within among us that it is the only port in the world that has CFS operation within the port premises, and we handle ship with the ship cranes, which doesn't happen in any other part of the world, in any international port. So to take the safety measures in these tight, difficult, critical areas, it's not an easy job. And to educate everyone in the operation areas are not an easy job, because we have port workers, clearing agents. There are foreign laborers who can't speak properly in Divehi or even in English. They come as laborers as a clearing agents. We have to train them. We have to educate them for the possible risk, and their responsibilities. And we do train them. And when they get the certificates of the training, we allow them to the port premises now. And for the operators, ship winchmen and the RTG and Ristikas, those heavy vehicles you see when you pass by MPL, we train them periodically. And we have been amending our port workers' policies according to the volumes and the difficulties we arise in, like we face in accidents. After any incidents that happens, we do amends, and we bring our stakeholders together and discuss how we can mitigate this risk and how we can improve our working area, the condition, especially ship operations and CFS working areas. Yeah.
Thank you. You started by saying sometimes the public don't have a good opinion about the safety record, but I also want to say I think majority of the time public opinion is shaped not by what you actually do or don't do, but rather the information you provide about what you do or don't do. So I think it's very crucial that the public understand exactly the things that you've just said, and understand the some of the really unique security features and challenges you face to ensure the safety and security of the people engaged in the unloading process. So I think it's got a lot to do with how much information you provide to the public as well. So my final question for this panel is to Mr. Zaman. In your opinion, how much of a part how important would you say statistics is in shaping an effective maritime business? And what impacts, again, we go back to the issue of technology, what impacts would artificial intelligence have on maritime shipping and cargo logistical operations?
You know, in today's world, if we look around us, any industry seriously relies on the information or the data which is available to them. For example, like we are in an industry where numbers matter a lot. We need to know very precisely the numbers means like the stakeholders, whoever are in the industry, the number in weight, what kind of weight is coming into our ports or vessels or our warehousing facilities. We need to know the numbers which are going to be loaded on terminals, handled, operated, forwarded, communicated. That's again very important. For small freight businesses, again, the numbers or the statistics is very important for like budgeting, planning, and foreseeing their business where it is heading to. Again, it's very important. So clarity in numbers gives you a precise idea where you are going to head in the next couple of months or the years. So that is how these numbers are very important. When it comes to the technology, now we hear a lot about AI. We like it or not, AI going to play a big role in whatever we are going to do in the next couple of years. Yes, in maritime industry or in logistics or supply chain, again, it has a serious role. We can see starting from, again, port operation, AI is involved in a lot of ports internationally. We have started visualizing and experiencing there are ports which are seriously managed by without any manpower. The terminals are operated, the warehousing is being operated, and we see further like the vessels. The world is looking into that. Operate cargo vessels with the very serious, without any single individual on board. So they will run port to port all over the world, unmanned, and again it will be controlled by different tools which AI offers us today. We are looking forward for a better industry with the help of not only AI, there are a lot of other segments of the science and technology which is bringing a lot of innovation for our part of the industry, and we see in a very positive manner that it will bring efficiency, cost effectiveness, and relay of information much faster and efficiently to our end users. I just wanted to add something which is not relevant to this question. What just simplify for everybody here. What these all of us here sitting are part of a one big process. Yeah. I book a cargo from some village in China, custom clear it, put it on a vessel of MSS in China. MSS bring it here to port. Port discharge the cargo to the terminal. Shamim submits the custom clearance document to the custom clearance. And then after clearance, he will deliver it to the consignee. All of us, any of us fails in this country, ultimately the customer fails. So that is where we need to concentrate to improve wherever we are failing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that final point is exactly the overarching theme of this panel as well, where it's not just about one person, it's about the entire process where each one of you is a part of. And as you said, a failure in even a single part of that process impacts the customer. Thank you very much. I think there was a question to the panel. Yes. Could we have a microphone?
I can be loud.
You are.
I can be.
You are. We can hear you.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you very much, and thanks excellent. Once again, I think this is the third year that this is happening. Thank you for your last point. That is the most important. Thank you. We are the process. You are the process of what you described. Take matters in your hands, because you all described a legacy of issues that doesn't allow right now Maldives to grow. Tourism growth back from the 70s, end of 80s, record numbers. You are reaching into 2000, flat. You're now 2025, negative. The fifth destination in the world. I don't know how many times record destination in the world. Take matters into the hand. Mr. Taha described it very well. So Sri Lankans are doing it. Maldives can do it. Consortiums, it can help. So I just wanted this open dialogue to invite Medium and all the peers here to have an open agenda, to start creating an agenda. The government will change after 2 years. And then a new one will come. And then everything that we can talk about will fly away. But you are all in business. We are all in business for this place.
Very quickly.
I know port from many years. I know the national carrier, the custom people from many years. Everybody is doing beyond their existing capacity. The failure on us as a individual characters, as enterprises or bodies, is that we couldn't come up with the one plan that how we're gonna, put all this together and make it happen what we exactly talking about right now. If we manage to line up, actually me and Taha had a morning discussion on that okay, if nobody comes on board, let's you, me, and couple of other people should sit together and see what we can do by putting up our expertise and try to do something which can help all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for that intervention. I think very, very important points, and some forecasting as well, although some might not appreciate the forecasting, but let's... but I think the final point that you made as well is very important. And I hope that at the end of this forum, that there are some actual actionable things that come out, like you said, that sort of who connects and who gets to have further conversations, that when this happens next year or the next time this happens, we don't talk about the same problems. That at least some of these problems have been resolved as a result of what we're doing here today. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. So thank you, the esteemed panelists. Thank you, the audience, for listening. And I think there's going to be a small certificate handing over, which I would like all of you to just stick around for a little longer. But thank you very much, and we're going to be back with the next panel in a short while. Thank you.
Thank you, Tol. And to do the honors of handing over the certificate, may I please invite General Manager Elia Investments, Mr. Ahmed Said, please. And I'd like Mr. Sham to accompany Mr. Said. And to calling on to our panelists, Managing Director, Seven Ocean Logistics, Mr. Shamim Ibrahim. Deputy Commissioner, Maldives Customs Service, Mr. Abdullah Wahid. Chief Commercial Officer, Maldives State Shipping, Mr. Taha Mohammed. Chief Learning and Development Officer, Maldives Ports Limited, Ms. Aishat Shimla. and Chief Executive Officer, Equivalent Lines Private Limited, Mr. Kashif Zaman. Now I'd like all panelists to come forward for a group photo with Mr. Saeed and Mr. Sham. Can we have Tal as well for the photo? Thank you so much to all the panelists of panel 2. Thank you, Mr. Ahmed Saeed, for coming and doing the honors. Thank you, Mr. Sham. And thank you, Mr. Costas, for your fervent input for the panel. We now transition into an engaging and hands-on workshop session led by Director, Ministry of Transport and Civil Aviation, Mr. Hussein Nazir. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Nazir, please?
Assalamu alaikum.